A damning report this week has come out about how the police handled the impasse with the striking miners at the time. We've heard how mine workers did not attack the police at the small koppie, despite police testimony saying that they shot at the police. Well, to help us unpack what might be hard lessons learned at Marikana and what police should do and to prevent a similar tragedy, I'm now joined in our Pretoria studios by Dr. Kock, an independent crime, violence and crowd control dynamics analyst. Thanks very much for joining us on the program, Dr. Kock. Always a pleasure to talk to you. This report that's come out this week didn't paint the police in a good picture. Perhaps you can help us unpack 6 years down the line. We've got hindsight with us now. What are some of the big lessons that we could have learned on behalf of the police that maybe they could have done differently?
Well, there's actually a whole range. I think if one do a detailed analysis of the Marikana report, of the Judge Farlam's report, and of all the other publications after that, there's actually a wealth of lessons. But I will only mention some of the more important ones. I think the first one, the most important lesson of Marikana, is it is only the commander, the police commander at the scene, at the situation of protests, like at Marikana at the koppies, that should take decisions when a crowd should be dispersed. If I was the commander at Marikana, and I've said that from the first day that I've heard it, and I was still then in the police, the fact of the matter is I would have not taken the crowd, I would have not dispersed the crowd on that koppie, on that specific day. There was no reason. You could have left them on the koppie. There were no reason to disperse them before 4 o'clock that day, which was an instruction from somewhere higher up. That is the first lesson. You can look at any literature from overseas for many, many years, that you should never have people giving a command from a distance when it comes to crowd control, when it comes to public order policing. It should be the commander. That's lesson number one. Lesson number two is that your police should be, the police on the scene should actually only be public order police units. People trained specifically to do public order, who know a crowd, who can read the crowd very scientifically actually, who can see this crowd is now becoming unruly, this crowd is now a danger to the environment, to other people in the environment, or to structures, or whatever the case may be. Also people with knowledge how to fragment or how to break up that crowd before it becomes a very violent mob. But they should be in a position to read the crowd and to be reading the crowd dynamics of a crowd. You know, there are many factors that are involved in a crowd. You have factors of anonymity. People think they can't be seen in a crowd. You have factors of de-individualization in a crowd, where people follow the crowd because that's what they have learned, what is right and wrong in the past. They now suddenly can't, that doesn't support their thinking, and they have to follow the examples around them. There are other factors, cohesion within a crowd. For example, everywhere where people, where crowds are controlled, it is important never to bring your full force, your full public order force to the crowd. You should always just have a smaller group of people monitoring the crowd situation. And when you see that things are going in the wrong direction, then you bring in the full force, the full control, the force control force.
I'm going to push you along
also,
a little bit.
Also, the reason why I'm saying only public order policing units should be used.
Dr. Kock, we're running out of time, so I'm going to push you along a little bit. What's the third lesson?
The third lesson is there should be a unity of command. At Marikana, we had different units there. We had units there which should not even be there, like the TRT, the Tactical Response Team, which did the shooting. And in the end, there were no unity of command. There were no central command. If you look at scene 2, for example, the latest research which was done by the ISS, by Dave Bruce, you will see that that incident should not even have happened, because after the incident 1 at copy number 1, the whole situation should have been stopped. The fire should have ceased, and the miners would run in all directions, and that's all right. They will go wherever they want to go at that stage. And I think the whole situation would have then been stopped there. Right. Maybe one last lesson, because it seems time is of constraint here. One last important lesson, and I mentioned it yesterday at the conference of the ISS, and that is that one have to be very careful, especially now in the days of the modern social media, because I know for a fact that certain footage were circulated in the days before the incident of the 2 police officers who were killed, unfortunately, a few days before. And that actually made the police officers very afraid, but also very, very, very angry. It really created a lot of aggression, which then eventually may have fed into the aggression that we saw at Marikana.
All right, Dr. Cox, 4 very powerful lessons, and we thank you so much indeed for giving us your time to share those lessons with us this afternoon. Thanks so much for your time. We're going to cross back now to Marikana, where Joseph Matunjwa of the AMCU union is addressing the miners there. He himself, of course, played a key role in trying to manage the situation at the time, and this week we heard reports again about how much effort he put into that. But let's cross to him now as he addresses the gathered there.
Long live! Long live the spirit of Bela, long live! Long live the spirit of Biela, long live! Amandla! Long live the spirit of Comrade Shadow, long live! Maibuye Africa, maibuye! Ndiyabulela nto zakuthi. Asibulele kubo bonke abaphambi kwethu. Bathi ngesilungu all protocol observed. Sendibulelileke andingene emcimbini ngenxa yexesha. Ndizawucela kuni kuba ndimixe ukuze kuba umcimbi wethu utsheshise nalabo ababhala izindaba bangahambi bofuna